Watch me build a full sleep tracking application using Pythagora AI. This is vibe coding, super easy. It's gonna be thousands of lines of code in under an hour and a half of my own work. And at the end, I'm going to have a fully functional application. And thank you to Pythagora for sponsoring this video. They've been a fantastic partner. You all have loved the previous videos where I build entire applications from start to finish, and we're gonna do that again today. This is going to be the most complex app that I've built. Let's get started. All right, so what are we going to build today? I am going to build a sleep tracker app. I sometimes struggle with sleep. I want to be able to track my sleep, find patterns and different habits that help me sleep better. And I want to do that with the help of AI. So that's what we're going to be building today. And the first thing that we did was create the prompt. This is where I would recommend spending the most time. So here it is. I want to create an app that will have a main, a home page, sleep coach page, login, and registration pages, and an account page where the user will be able to add their own OpenAI API key and select an LLM that they want to use for this app. So then I describe what's going to be on the home page. Literally, here are the buttons. When I press it, it should do this. Very detailed, very specific. This can also be called a spec. And so we've even used AI to help us create the structure of the JSON that we're going to be using for the data. Now, another big part of what I want this app to do is to have essentially a sleep coach. I want it to give me recommendations when it starts analyzing all of the data. And not only that, I wanted to actually have a sleep coach that I can ask questions to, and it has the context of all that data that I've given it. And of course, I don't want all of this information public, so I'm going to put it behind authentication. And one really important function of this app is the ease of uploading my information, whether it's sleep data, exercise data, and there are going to be two ways. One, natural language. I'm just going to literally record something and say, I slept from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And all of that is going to be parsed by AI and put into the database. I also use sleep tracking apps. I have the Whoop band, I have an 8 sleep, and I want to be able to take the data that those things are giving me, like total sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep, and upload screenshots of them, and then GPT-4o will parse it and put it in my app. And so it's kind of just a repository for everything, and it's going to parse all of this random data, put it all together, and start to extract insights from it. Then I go on to describe the sleep coach page, and you know what? Let's just paste it in, and I'm going to explain everything as it happens. Okay, so I highlighted the entire prompt, and this is Pythagora 2.0. If you remember from my previous videos, Pythagora is an extension in VS Code, but now it is fully hosted in the cloud if you want to take that approach. All right, enough talking. Let's get started. I'm going to paste the prompt in, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to explain all of the different updates and features that have come since the last time that I've shown you Pythagora. So the first thing it's going to be doing is basically taking my prompt and reformatting it, adding to it, clarifying things, and putting that all in markdown format. And once it's done creating this more formal spec for you, you can actually click in and edit anything you want. So if you see something that needs to be updated or changed slightly, or you didn't like how it defined it, click in and change anything you want. So let's look over it quickly. We have the main navigation, homepage, sleep coach, login page, registration page, account page. We have specifications for each of those pages. So yeah, with the login page, we want email and username, a password, a login, forgot password. We have a registration page. We have the account page where we will put in the OpenAI key. And it gets very, very detailed. I mean, it's literally everything that it is going to build for you. So let's say, yeah, we are satisfied and let's keep going. So we click yes, and now it starts working in the background. So the first thing we can see as it's working, if we click over to tasks, we can actually see different epics. We can see the tasks that it's going to complete. It's going to add more as we progress, and it figures out other things that we need to do. So look at this already, building the front end. This may take a couple of minutes. And if you remember back to my previous video, the entire thing that I built last time took about 2 hours and about 1,200 lines of code. I suspect this is going to be many more lines of code and take less time. So we can see Epic 1, Task 1, write the spec, define epics and tasks, and it's done. You can see all of it is marked as done. And number 2, Epic 2, build front end and UI skeleton, working, and this is what it is currently working on. Here, it's building the APIs now, so we can actually click in and see the details as it's going. Everything is very easy to understand. Now, if you need to reference the spec, you can always click back to the spec. And one cool thing is this is a live document. So if you click into here and you want to make changes as you go, let's say you've built out most of it and you're like, oh, actually, I think it should operate a little bit differently, come in here and update it. And the AI will update it as well if it thinks it needs to be updated. Okay, so we can see it's CDing into this client, installing the NPM packages. Now, what makes Pythagora really good and really fast is the fact that it is very opinionated. It tends to gravitate towards frameworks that it's really good at writing. So that's why we're seeing Node right here. And look at all these files already being written. We have app.tsx, sleep.ts, chat.ts, and so on, and it's still going. Here it's building components. We can see all of the components that are being built. And if you did actually want to look at the code, you can do so, and it should feel very familiar because this is essentially a hosted version of VS Code. So if I click Explore, we can see all of the code right here. Here we can see the different APIs being built. This is the settings API, sleep and chat APIs, all of these different components. It is literally building out a full stack application right in front of my eyes with very little input from me so far. So very similar to Pythagora 1.0, this is a framework in which I am working with the AI to build it. Now, obviously it's handling all the hard parts of actually writing the code, but I'm checking things along the way, making sure it's heading in the right direction. And that applies to both the back end and the front end. All right, so it looks like it's done building out most of the front end, but let's actually see it. On the left side, we have this view app button right here. So let's click it. It's loading a preview. This is live on the web right now, but only I can access it logged in through my Pythagora account. So this is what the actual app looks like. And initially, because it's in the testing phase, I can put in any email address I want. So matt@forwardfuture.ai, and let's log in. And look at that. With just under 5 minutes, we have a full front end already built out. All right, so we have our daily sleep data entry. If I click here, there are two ways to do it. I can upload a sleep screenshot, or I can simply record a voice memo. If I click here, it's gonna ask me if I wanna use the microphone. So yes, while visiting the site, and it's recording. Now, the backend isn't quite built out yet, so it's all front end right now. We'll get to that in a moment. So there we go. I can submit it, and it's looking like it's submitting. Here I can click give me recommendations. This is all mock data. This isn't actually hooked up to GPT-4 yet. We have our sleep patterns, and it has some pre-filled data already just so we can see it and not have an empty screen. So total sleep in light blue, REM sleep, and deep sleep. And then last, here's the sleep hygiene. We have a late meal, read a book before bed, and screen time before bed. And we can see here what that looks like. If I click over to the sleep coach, it looks like a traditional chatbot interface. This is what I want it to look like. I want to be able to ask questions about my data and any recommendations it might have for me. Here's where we can input our OpenAI API key, our LLM model selection. So it's going to give us multiple. Obviously, we're going to go with GPT-4o because that's the workhorse. I think it looks good. So we just click, I'm done building the UI, and let's keep going. Are you sure you're done building the UI? Do you want to start building the backend? Yes, let's go. So it follows this pattern of spec, front end, then backend. And usually with vibe coding tools, all of these things get built at the same time. And sometimes it makes mistakes because of that. It has to have more formal planning and a more formal process. And that's why doing the front end and then the back end is beneficial. So here it's building. It already detected some errors. If I click into it, I can see some of these errors, and it's going to fix it itself. It detected it itself. It's going to fix it itself. And here is where I mentioned we're going to start working hands-on with the AI. Here you can see it says human test. This is where I actually will test it, validate that it works, and then tell Pythagora, yes, it works, or no, I need to fix something and what that thing is. So first it says open the register page. So I'll log out. I opened the register page. Now, if I actually click this down arrow, it gives me more information about what it wants me to look for, what it wants me to test. So it's saying go to localhost/register. Obviously it's hosted, so it's not really localhost. It's localhost for the hosted version. But if I just click on it, it loads up. It goes to exactly the page that I need to look at. And it said expected result. You should see a success message in the bottom right corner, and you should be directed to the /login page. So I'm going to test registering an account, matt@forwardfuture.ai, and my password. Let's create the account. I got this success message just like it said, and it should redirect me to the /login page. And it did. I actually didn't even notice it, but I'm already at the login page. So next, open the login page. I can just click here, but I was already there. you should see a success message in the bottom right corner after I try logging in. So I'm using my email and password. Let's click sign in, and there we go. I'm logged in. So authentication now works. Now it's starting task number 2, add API key and LLM model selection fields to user model and implement API endpoint for saving these settings. Do you want to execute the above tasks? Yes. Okay, so while it's thinking about how to do this task, let's switch back to the task tab and we can see the different tasks that we're doing. So if we scroll over to the left, build front end and UI skeleton is done. We are done with task 1, implement test login and register pages. And we are working on now task 2. We can also see other tasks that we'll be doing soon. All right, so here's the analysis. Here are the things the front end already has. Here's the implementation plan. We're going to update the user model, create the settings routes, create settings services, update the front end API, and update the server. Here's the code. It's all writing the code right now. And here's the summary of everything it just did. Here are the files it changed. And of course, if we click into any of them, we can actually see the code. And we're at the human test portion again. So step 1, log into the app. Okay, so I'm just going to click right there, enter your username and password. So let's do that. Click sign in. It worked. Great. Next, navigate to the account settings page. Okay, and click on your profile icon or username in the navigation bar and click account. Okay, I already did that. You should be taken to the account settings page. Yes. Enter an API key. In the OpenAI API key section, enter a valid API key. I'm going to go grab that right now. Okay, so I grabbed my OpenAI API key. I'm going to paste it in right here, and I'm going to click save. API key saved successfully. Then next, step 4, select an LLM model. I want GPT-4o. Let's just keep that. Save the API key. Okay, I already did that. Save the LLM model. Already did that. Now, one other thing you can do, just FYI, because sometimes there are some weird behaviors when you have a web page within an iframe, you can simply click right here where it says view app and open in new tab. And that will pop open a new tab in your browser, whatever browser you're using. And it is your application with no iframe. So that's another good way to test. So once we've tested everything, it all works, click everything works. And now let's see what it does next. Starting task number 1 with the description, implement audio recording upload functionality. Do you want to execute the above task? Yes. So now it's starting to build and we're going to continue going through this process. It's going to build something. I'm going to test it. I'm going to either say, yes, it's working or give it feedback on what's not working. Hopefully I get to show you that because everything has worked so far. And then we just continue on to the next task. So let's go back to the task tab and we can see this is where we are. Task 2 is now completed. And now it is working on the audio portion of the functionality. So here we go. It's doing a task breakdown. Front end already has. Okay, I need to implement backend API endpoints for file uploads, database models to store file metadata, file storage on disk, remove mocked responses. That all sounds correct. Here's the implementation plan, and it's starting to write the code. Okay, so now it is adding the packages. There we go. I mean, it just handles the environments for you. It handles all of the coding for you. It's just so easy. This is true vibe coding. And if you're wondering where in the competitive landscape Pythagora sits, you can kind of think of it as in between Cursor and Windsurf, which you're basically deep in the code, you're writing everything, and then Lovable and Bolt, which you really don't look at the code at all. You just kind of prompt it and it spits out an application. This is right in the middle where you want to build more sophisticated applications and you want a little bit more control. You still want to be vibe coding, but you want to have more guardrails on it. All right, we're back to the next step. So test the application by following these steps. Log in. Okay, I'm already logged in. Open data entry section. There it is. Great. Let's look at the details. The data entry section should expand. Great. Upload sleep screenshot. Okay, so I got to go grab one of those. Okay, so I have a screenshot of my Whoop app, which is this little device that I wear to track my exercise and sleep. And yeah, don't judge me. I did not sleep very well last night. And we can see here's awake, light, deep, and REM sleep. So I'm simply going to upload this screenshot. So I selected the screenshot. It looks like it is ready to upload. And then it says select the file name. Great. Screenshot uploaded and processed successfully. Okay. And then let's hit submit data. All right. So I uploaded it and because it's on the server, we can actually go see it. So if we click File Explorer right there. And so I clicked client, server, uploads, screenshots, and there is the screenshot right there that I just uploaded. So that was successful. All right, so it's telling me to go into Mongo and run these two commands. So I'm gonna hit Command J, and just like VS Code, we have the terminal. I'm going to copy this, use Sleepwise. So I'm gonna type Mongo sh, hit enter. Now I'm in Mongo. We're gonna use Sleepwise. So I'm gonna just copy that right there, paste. And then we're going to look for the screenshot in the database, and there it is. All right, now it's saying record a voice memo. So we're gonna have to give that a try. If I click start recording, test, 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 say something into your microphone, then click stop recording. Then we wanna submit it, okay? Voice memo processed successfully. Exactly what we wanted to see. Verify voice memo metadata in database. So same thing. So I'm already in Sleepwise. Let's look for the recording. And there it is. So everything worked. Let's keep going. Next, implement audio recording and transcription using OpenAI Whisper. Yes, go ahead. Okay, once again, we have the task breakdown. So analysis of current implementation, what needs to be implemented, the audio transcription, image processing, text processing, database models, and front-end integration. Here's the implementation plan. It is starting to write the code. All right, I got a little error in the interface and it says errors detected. It is basically always looking for errors as it's running. So if we click into it, we can see the different errors. Failed to fetch data, toast error. When it's done looking for all the errors, we can simply click fix. All right, here we go. So before we test it, let's click fix. And it actually found 19 different errors. And I don't need to think about it. I'll just click fix. Bug hunting 1, this is so cool. Finding a way to reproduce the bug, looking at the logs, problem analysis, solution, and implementation. All right, so it's saying basically the solution is prevent the server crash, graceful error handling. Really just restarting would have probably solved it, but it's gonna fix it for me. And at this point, I could just go walk away and go get, a cup of tea or some snacks and then come back and it would have fixed all the bugs. All right, now let's test it. Start the application, access the application, check console logs, and we can click here to check the console logs. Everything looks good, no errors, so I'm done testing. Yes, the issue's fixed. Next, go to the homepage, record a voice memo. Test, test, test. Verify the transcription. Okay, so we ran into an issue. Failed to process voice memo. So I'm gonna click there is an issue. So I'm gonna say it says submit failed to process voice memo. Obviously, very simple. I'll just click go and hopefully it'll just fix it with that very brief description. Okay, so now it's telling me to register a new user and essentially record without an API key to see what happens. So let's do that. So I sign up a second user, create account, sign in, and I don't have an API key yet. So let's try to record a memo, test, 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 submit, and here we go. We got the same error. And that is actually what we expected. So let's just click fix all and see what it does. Hopefully it'll be able to fix all of the errors that are remaining. All right, so if we look at the logs, we do see we have some more errors. If I click errors only, this is a really useful view. Error processing voice memo, failed to parse extracted. So let's just click fix all again. Again, don't really want to think all that much right now. So let's just let AI fix it for me. Once again, I'm just gonna keep clicking fix all until it actually does fix all of them. And we're gonna keep testing recording a voice memo with an API key. And remember, just like software development, sometimes you're going to have to try things multiple times, try different approaches. And the good thing is all I have to do is click this fix all button. All right, let's give it a try again. There we go, recorded successfully. Very nice. I'm done testing. Yes, this fixed the issue. And actually, I do need to actually say something during the recording. So to test the actual transcription, I'm gonna need to be in a new tab because I need to be able to see the developer console. So I opened up the app in a new tab. We're going to record, test, 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 submit. So now I'm going to inspect console, and there's the transcription right there. Test, test, test. So that is correct. So next I need to test image uploading to see if it processes it correctly. So choose file, upload. There we go. Success. Once again, we're going to inspect, go to console. We're going to look at the object. And remember, this is just coming back from ChatGPT. And there it is, extracted data. We have bedtime, deep sleep, restorative sleep, REM sleep, all the things I wanted. Perfect. Now, once we're done with that, we want to test the actual submission. So let's click submit data and success. it worked. And let's make sure it's logged to the console. So we hit inspect one more time, submitting data entry. Here are the upload results. Okay, so everything looks good. Let's continue on. Everything works and it's gonna keep building. Next, implement saving of deep sleep data with process LLM responses, implement retrieval. Yes, let's go ahead and do it. All right, back to testing. So it restarted the app for me. Log in, already done. Enter sleep data for today. Click here, let's choose the screenshot. Here's one from last night. Okay, so it's uploading. Let's submit it. Data processed successfully. All right, so it did not display. So we're gonna say there is an issue. All right, so 2 issues. When I hover over the sleep patterns graph, a gray block is shown. And also after uploading a screenshot, nothing is appearing in the sleep patterns graph. So let's give it that and see what it does. So we can see here the backend is successfully processing and saving the sleep data. So that's fine. So it's really about the display. All right, we can see as it's fixing it, now we have an empty state handling and now it's restarting. There's that empty state, so no sleep data available. And now we're gonna do it again. So let's upload a screenshot, submit data processed and saved successfully, hover over the chart, and the chart is not appearing still. Let's try refreshing the page. So the sleep pattern graph is still not showing. I'm gonna say the sleep patterns graph is still not appearing after submitting my data. Please add logs so I can see what's wrong. All right, so it added some logs. Let's see what happens now. So we can see the data received. That's probably where the logs are gonna end up. We're gonna do it again, upload the screenshot. I know it's parsing it correctly because we tested that already. So there we go, submit data, and right, no data received. All right, so I clicked over to the logs tab to see what's wrong, and I see immediately that the response for the process screenshot shows it's from 2023, and that is obviously not right. So I simply say the data from the clean response says 2023, which isn't right. Assume if I upload a screenshot, it's for the previous night of sleep. Now this hopefully will fix it. All right, let's give it a try again. Upload, it's gonna process it. It's going to assume a date now, submit, and there we go, it worked. Yes, that was the issue. So we can see REM sleep, total sleep, and deep sleep. Perfect. I'm done testing. Yes, it fixed the issue. And Pythagora is trying to surface all of the logs, so if you do have any issues, you can simply click over to the logs tab and see what's wrong. Okay, so I've done all of these steps. The next thing it wants me to do is fetch AI recommendations. Let's click it and see what happens. Now, there's not a lot of data in there, so I'm not sure what recommendation it's gonna give me, but all I wanna see is that it's working. All right, let's dive into your profile. Your sleep duration was, yeah, so this is great. It's giving me some recommendations. Obviously, I can continue to iterate on the prompt itself to give more concise recommendations, to give longer recommendations, to give specific types, and all of that can be done later. I just want to make sure it works, and it does. So everything works. Let's continue. So I'm going to go back over the task panel, and it's saying implement the API endpoint for generating sleep recommendations, but I have that already, so we can actually skip this task. Then it's gonna start working on the sleep coach, so let's do that. All right, so it finished, but I immediately see some errors. Let's look at them. A lot of toast errors. Let's just click fix all and see what happens. Okay, so everything is loaded up. Let's go to the sleep coach page. Let's see if we send a message. Hello, and we got a response, perfect. Verify AI response. Check message storage. Okay, so now it's asking me to go back into Mongo. Okay, and now it's asking me to check for the message. There it is. Okay, great. Reload sleep coach page, and it's still there. Perfect. Everything works. Your app should be finished. Are you satisfied with it? Wonderful. Let's ask one more question. We can ask it basically anything about sleep health, sleep hygiene. So what's a good wind down routine before bed? And here we go. Set a consistent schedule, dim the lights, etc. Now, one thing I'd like to do, and I'll probably save this for a future video where I'm iterating on this app, is give it access to all of my data and make sure that I can ask it questions specific to me and my data. But for now, your app should be finished. Yes, it works. Submit. And we are done. That was everything. All right, so there it is. Thousands of lines of code, less than an hour and a half, very easy to work with. Now a very intuitive, fully hosted VS Code interface. I recommend checking it out, Pythagora.ai. I will drop the link in the description below. Tell them I sent you. They've been a great partner, very easy to vibe code with it. Check it out. Thanks again. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.